History of Nuno da Cunha, 1529 to 1538. The story of Nuno da Cunha, who governed Portuguese India during a decisive decade of the 16th century, marks one of the most significant chapters in the expansion of Portuguese power in the East. A man of military skill, diplomatic cunning, and strategic vision, he not only consolidated Portuguese control over Western India, but also laid the foundations for their influence in Bengal. Appointment as governor, 1529. In November 1529, Nuno da Cunha was appointed as the governor of Portuguese interests in India. He succeeded Lopo Vaz de Sampaio and was entrusted with the difficult task of stabilizing the Portuguese Empire in Asia after a period of turbulence. At this time, the Portuguese were no longer simply adventurous traders. They had begun to build a vast empire stretching from the Cape of Good Hope to Malacca. One of da Cunha's earliest and most decisive actions came in 1530, when he moved the administrative headquarters of the Portuguese Estado da Índia from Cochin, a relatively weak base, to Goa. Goa, captured earlier by Afonso de Albuquerque in 1510, was centrally located on the western coast of India, better protected, and offered a deep harbor. This move transformed Goa into the political and commercial capital of Portuguese power in Asia, a status it retained until the very end of their presence in India, struggles and diplomacy in Gujarat. Da Cunha's governorship coincided with political instability in northwestern India. The rise of the Mughal Emperor Humayun threatened the smaller regional powers, including the Sultan of Gujarat, Bahadur Shah. Caught between the expanding Mughal Empire and internal pressures, Bahadur Shah looked to the Portuguese for assistance. In 1534, Bahadur Shah negotiated with da Cunha, offering strategic concessions in exchange for Portuguese naval and military support. The most important of these concessions was the island of Bassein, modern Vasai, near Mumbai. This grant was not merely symbolic. It included the surrounding dependencies and the revenues generated from the region. By acquiring Bassein, the Portuguese strengthened their hold on the Konkan coast and gained a vital stronghold close to the lucrative trade networks of Western India. In addition, Bahadur Shah offered the Portuguese a base at Diu, another strategically critical port. The possession of Diu allowed the Portuguese to monitor and dominate the northern Arabian Sea, securing control over shipping routes and acting as a bulwark against rival powers, both Indian and European. However, this alliance was fragile. The Portuguese were always cautious in their dealings with Bahadur Shah, who was trying to balance his dependence on their naval strength with his fear of losing sovereignty. Tensions later escalated, leading to the Battle of Diu in 1538, though this major confrontation occurred after da Cunha's death. Expansion towards Bengal. Da Cunha did not confine Portuguese ambitions to Western India. Recognizing the wealth and strategic value of Bengal, then one of the richest provinces in the Indian subcontinent, he aimed to extend Portuguese influence there. His policy was not one of outright conquest, but rather settlement and infiltration. He encouraged a large number of Portuguese nationals, traders, adventurers, missionaries, and soldiers to establish themselves in Hooghly, a town along the banks of the Ganges River. This settlement became a thriving Portuguese community and a vital trading hub. From Hooghly, they could access Bengal's enormous wealth in textiles, spices, and other commodities. The settlement also became a center of cultural and religious activity. Missionaries spread Christianity, while merchants integrated into Bengal's economy, creating a unique Indo-Portuguese culture that left a lasting legacy. Other achievements and challenges. During his tenure, da Cunha also undertook efforts to strengthen Portuguese naval dominance in the Indian Ocean. He maintained a firm policy of controlling maritime trade routes by enforcing the Cartaz system, a pass system that required all Asian merchant ships to purchase Portuguese licenses to sail safely. This not only ensured revenue but also consolidated Portuguese authority over Indian Ocean commerce. Nevertheless, his governorship was not free from challenges. The Portuguese faced resistance from local rulers who resented their growing power, as well as competition from other trading powers like the Ottomans, who were attempting to extend their naval influence into the Arabian Sea. Decline and death, 1538. Nuno da Cunha governed for nearly a decade, from 1529 to 1538. His tenure transformed the nature of the Portuguese presence in India, shifting it from scattered coastal settlements into a more centralized and organized colonial power. However, his career ended tragically. After being relieved of his post in 1538, da Cunha set sail for Portugal. During the voyage, he fell ill and died at sea off the Cape of Good Hope. His body was buried on the island of São Brás, Mozambique. Legacy of Nuno da Cunha. 1. Capital shift to Goa. His decision to move the capital from Cochin to Goa ensured a stronger administrative and military base for the Portuguese in Asia. Goa would remain the heart of Portuguese India for centuries. 2. Control of Bassein and Diu. By acquiring Bassein and securing rights in Diu, da Cunha gave Portugal dominance over the western seaboard of India, placing them at the center of Indian Ocean trade. 3. Portuguese presence in Bengal. His encouragement of settlement in Hooghly laid the foundation of a long-standing Portuguese community in Bengal, which would thrive for decades and leave an enduring cultural influence. 4. Strengthening the Estado da India. His tenure consolidated Portuguese naval supremacy and created the infrastructure for long-term colonial rule. Conclusion. Nuno da Cunha's governorship stands as a turning point in the history of Portuguese expansion in India. From his relocation of the capital to Goa to his acquisition of Bassein and promotion of settlements in Bengal, he built upon the foundations laid by Albuquerque and Almeida, ensuring that Portugal would dominate the Indian Ocean trade for much of the 16th century. Though he died far from the lands he governed, his legacy endured in the forts of Goa, the harbors of Diu, and the thriving Portuguese quarters of Hooghly, monuments to a man whose vision and policies reshaped the history of European presence in India. Thank you for watching my video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.